What a business plan is there for many times is to help a new business owner gain clarity on what they're trying to achieve. But that's not who we're talking to here. We're talking to successful business owners that want to drastically drive up the value of their companies. We're talking to financial advisors and financial coaches who are trying to help their clients drive the value of their company so they can close the wealth gap and the value gap and the profit gap. That's who we're talking to. And so if that's you, a business plan in earnest is not worth the paper it's written on. You do not need a business plan. That's right. I said it. I could drop the mic right there and walk out the door and you're like, really, Justin? You don't need a business plan? Don't need it. You're like, Goodbread, I have an MBA. I went to college for this many years. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and my professors say this is exactly how a business plan looks. I get it. What I'm saying is your professors don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the business plan, especially for small business owners. We're talking about small business owners. We're talking about 33 million families out there who own companies that employ people that drive their product or service. You don't need a business plan. Look, I realize that the vast majority of MBA programs out there spend an astronomical amount of time talking about the business plan. In fact, if you go back in my episodes, I even outline what a business plan is. But the hard fact is we do not need a business plan if we're focused on driving value. We don't. There's no need for it. Well, then, Justin, why do professors teach business planning? Candidly, because they've never owned a business. And if they'd owned a business, they'd realize that the business plan is not worth the paper it's written on. Holy cow. Yep, I let the cat out of the bag. All right, right off the bat, let the hate mail come. Drop it in the comments below and tell me why I'm wrong. Why I'm wrong that, yes, you should have a business plan. Or maybe drop it in social media. Why do I need a business plan? I'm going to tear this myth apart in detail today. But before I do, let's talk about what is a business plan. Basically, what a business plan is it's a long-term roadmap. It's going to take your company and try to delineate how you're going to move from where you're at to where you want to be over the next 5-10 year period of time. Sometimes they'll say 5 years, sometimes they'll say 10 years, sometimes they'll say 3 years. Depending on the industry you're in, it's a long period of time and it's a big picture. It's going to give like the 50,000 foot view, and it's going to include things like an executive summary. Why does the business exist? What's its mission and values? All those various things. It's going to give a market analysis. What's happening in the marketplace right now? There may be a pro forma, some sort of a financial projection. And then ultimately a business plan is going to have, 9 times out of 10, is going to have a funding request. A funding request is there for you to secure financing from a bank, a venture capital firm, from private equity. It's going to be there for you to get funds. So look, if you're trying to get money to launch a business, then the bank's going to want to see a business plan, but you don't need it to be successful. And you definitely don't need a business plan to drive value in your company. You see, a business plan has some very major flaws that you and I, as operators of our companies, will actually succumb to if we're not careful. A business plan is inflexible. And because of that, whenever life happens, the plan itself is garbage at that point. It doesn't have adaptability to deal with the market fluctuations, market trends. It doesn't deal with the things that happen in the micro of the world. You typically aren't going to update it. You're going to set it in writing and you're going to leave it. And thus it becomes a paperweight. Friends, I've seen thousands of business plans. That's no exaggeration. In my 30 years of being a business owner and almost 20 years of coaching business owners. And in my review of thousands of business plans, I've never seen a business plan that reflects revenues becoming static or decreasing. Never seen it. Every single year, you're going to see an 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, whatever percent growth rate is on your business. That's not realistic. It doesn't happen that way. I've never seen a business plan that shows cost of goods or expenses increasing. It's always getting smaller as a percentage of revenue. I always see NOI or margins increasing. I never see them flat or decrease. So in and of itself, the business plan is flawed. What a business plan is there for many times is to help a new business owner gain clarity on what they're trying to achieve. But that's not who we're talking to here. We're talking to successful business owners that want to drastically drive up the value of their companies. We're talking to financial advisors and financial coaches who are trying to help their clients drive the value of their company so they can close the wealth gap and the value gap and the profit gap. That's who we're talking to. And so if that's you, a business plan in earnest is not worth the paper it's written on. Okay, Justin, so what is? I want to introduce you to the strategic plan. A strategic plan is a term you've probably heard of. There are coaches out there who call themselves strategic in their name. A strategic plan is a very short-term, action-oriented, detailed structure on how you're going to accomplish exactly what you're trying to accomplish. That's what it's there for. Unlike a business plan, it's designed for internal use only. You see, a business plan you give to the banker, you give to the shareholders, you give to the VC firms, you give it out so people on the outside can see what's going on in the company. That's not what the strategic plan is. The strategic plan is internal use only. It's designed for your management team and your employees to all rally around that one thing that they're going to accomplish in a very short time frame. That time frame is typically 90 days. It's not a long period of time. It's a 90-day time frame. And inside that plan, you're going to deal with some very specific things. You're going to deal with what are the clear and measurable short-term goals. We obviously know where we want to reach. We wouldn't be in business if we didn't have this aspiration. This aspiration can be influence. It could be a dollar figure in terms of revenue. It could be NOI in terms of how much money you're going to take out of the business. It could be a value number. That was mine. I want to grow a business to this value number. Whatever the goal is, you know what it is out here in the future. Some big, hairy, audacious goal, as Jim Collins said in his book, Good to Great. That's what you're looking toward. But how do we get there? What we're going to do is we're going to use a strategic plan to create short, actionable goals, clear and measurable. They're going to tell us who is going to do what by when. It's going to have timelines on it. It's going to have metrics that we can see, are we performing the way we need to? It will be flexible because it's such a short time period. Within a 45 or 90-day time period, your business isn't going to ebb and flow that much. So you're going to be able to set your plan for the next 90 days, and no matter what happens on the outside, barring some national catastrophe. I mean, I know some business owners out there right now, the hurricane disrupted them greatly. The hurricane disrupted them greatly as I'm talking about this. As I'm recording this episode today, in East Tennessee and western Kentucky, there is some major disruption happening right now. In the Florida Gulf Coast, up inside the West Coast, there's some major disruption happening right now because the hurricane just came through. So barring that, life is normal. The strategic plan is there for us. You see, the strategic plan is there to focus our day-to-day operations toward that mission of that big rock, that big, hairy, audacious goal. It is there to align everybody to an accountable outcome. Whenever I'm coaching clients and we go through our strategic planning process, we'll outline 3 specific things that we want to accomplish over the next period of time. Whatever that period of time is, we'll lay out 3 things. And for those 3 major rocks that we're going to lay out, we're going to break it down to where there's up to 27 action items that everyone on the team knows who is to do what by when. By getting that granular over a 90-day time period, you can drastically close your value gap. I use the term there. So what's value gap? Your company has value today. If you don't know what it is, we have a tool that we can share with you that will allow us to determine the value. This is what we teach in our academy. We give our academy students and our university students a tool that says, here's the value of our company today. And then we can determine that what a best-in-class company is worth compared to yours. And there's a gap there many times. Many times there's a gap there. So we know that a company that's worth $1 million could be worth $3 million, so there's a $2 million value gap there. So our 90-day sprints that we're taking on through the strategic plan, we can make decisions on how to close that value gap systematically. We can actually close a value gap over about an 18-month period of time by using strategic planning effectively. Now, whenever I'm talking about strategic planning effectively, I'm talking about you've got to get so granular in your decision making. You've got to get so detailed in your plan that every single person internal of the company who has duties knows exactly what they need to do over the next 90 days and what the results of them accomplishing those actions would be, and the result for them not accomplishing those actions would be. So many of us, we have our big vision out there. We know what we want to achieve, but yet we flounder. I was talking with a business owner yesterday, 26 years in business. And I was trying to figure out where his success is. And I'm like, okay, so are you best in class? Well, my revenue is marginal. It wasn't even an average. His revenue wasn't average. Okay, well, maybe you built a lifestyle business. What's your margin on your company? He told me, and I was like, dude, you're actually in the bottom quartile margins. Okay, how many hours a week are you working? Well, I work about 40 hours a week. I said, brother, you don't have a business, you have a job. He got offended. And I wasn't trying to offend the fella. I wasn't. But that's the reality of so many business owners is we're not best in class. We're not, our margins aren't where they need to be in terms of even average. Our revenue is not where it needs to be in terms of average. And our time we're working is above average. We literally have a job that so many of us go to and we just punch the proverbial clock. No wonder the vast majority of business owners will never capitalize on this asset that they have in front of them. No wonder the vast majority of businesses actually never sell, because we never approach it as a business. We never approach it saying our stock price is this today. How can I double my stock price? We're not our own CEOs. We use the title, but we're not our own CEOs. So whenever we're working with our coaching clients, we're saying, look, we know your value today. Hypothetically, it's $1 million, but a best-in-class business is worth 3, doing the exact same amount of revenue that you're doing. They're worth 2X or 3X in this case, as yours is. Let's close that. Let's not work harder. Let's get efficient. So how we're going to close the value gap is we're going to use strategic planning. So let me challenge you as a listener. Do you know that one thing that you're trying to accomplish over the next 3 to 5 years? That big rock. What is it for you? For me, it was value. I wanted a certain value that I was going to reach. What's your big rock? Is it freedom? I want to work less and make more money. That's the goal of so many business owners. And I'm there. I'm with you. As I'm relaunching another company, it's like, okay, my one mission, work less, make more. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay, so we know where we want to be. What are we doing today, in this very day, the very day that you're listening to my voice? What are you doing today that's going to move you toward that goal? And how are you measuring it? You see, when I ask that question to business owners, many times they can't answer me. Well, I know what we're doing this week. No. I want to know what you're doing today specifically that's going to impact that movement over the next 90 days. How is your actions today going to drive you to that particular destination? Friends, that is where strategic planning comes in. So I go back to my very first statement. You do not need a business plan. You do not need a business plan. Forget what the MBA programs taught you. Doesn't matter. You do need a strategic plan. You have to have a crystal clear destination on where you're trying to achieve, but then you have to take it back to the actionable daily steps. And every single person on your team needs to know what those steps are, what success looks like, and how they're being measured, what a win looks like. One of my favorite things to do is to walk through my 2-day strategic planning process on site with business owners. I actually meet with them. We walk through the entire process. They have a lot of homework to get ready on the front side. And then we roll out this process to where now their team knows exactly what they're going to do over the next 90 days. That is a fun event for me. I love doing that. So let me challenge you as a business owner. Do you have a strategic plan? Are you successfully executing that strategic plan every 90 days? Are you moving your company toward the desired goal where you can measure it and show your team and your team feels like they're winning every 90 days? Now, if you're like most business owners, you're like, dude, I'm struggling. I need help. Hey, look, reach out. We actually teach this in all of our courses. I even now begin offering a strategic planning on-site event for businesses where I'll come for a 2-day period of time. We'll do a comprehensive strategic plan on-site, get your team rallied around the destination, and then work with you over the next 90 days to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's a lot of fun. I love watching teams gel toward that one particular goal that the company and the owner has. So friends, if you need help, we have a vast amount of resources for whatever your budget is, whatever your needs are. We have a vast amount of resources that you can use to help you reach your big outcome. Reach out to us. Check out justingoodbread.com. Till then, y'all go out and make it a great day.